If you're watching me right now and you're in an abusive relationship, it's not good. Get up and leave. Get you a JanSport backpack. Get you 3 or 4 pair of drawers. You can't be out there with no funky drawers. And get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? And even if, and realistically, if you can't even grab nothing, just grab you and your kids or yourself and get out of there. And so, and I hope that anybody that maybe watches in my family isn't taking this like I'm taking jabs or cuts or nothing. I'm just talking about my experience and about what happened to me. This is stuff that has been on my heart and my chest, and I feel like by me opening up and talking about this is helping someone. You know what I mean? You may not like that I'm talking about something you did to me, but it's what you did. I'm just talking about what it is, you know what I mean? Maybe you don't even remember some of it because it was so much of it, you know, but I think that's something definitely gay men do need to open up and talk about. Women too. This domestic violence, particularly with what women, you know, deal with, and even gay men that deal with. I'm actually open up about some things about me. For some reason, it's just been weighing on me, just pulling at me to talk about for a while. Last year, I was at work, and we were opening the store, and all the customers were coming in like a single file line, and we were just grabbing each customer. And so the person that I ended up being with was with this girl, but she was looking real rough. I was like, damn, who whooped her ass? You know what I mean? I was like, it looked like she been in a fight or something. And I was like, for some reason, it was just like, I wonder if her dude beat her up. But I was like, nah. And so I, you know, asked her, you know, what she came. I was just, you know, it's not my business to be prying into, you know, anything like that. So I just, you know, found out what she wanted to come in for. And she was telling me she needed to get her daughter's phone. She needed to get her number on her daughter's phone number because her boyfriend had stolen hers. And so, and as she was telling me that, her voice started getting real shaky, and I seen she had big sunglasses on, like you could tell like this was all bruised and shit. You know what I mean? She had scratches all on her neck and stuff, like I could tell, like, okay. And so I could see tears coming down. She had the big Mary J. Blige not gonna cry glasses and stuff, and she just had tears coming down. And I was like, you know, I was like, are you okay? And she was like, no. She was like, my boyfriend just beat me up. And I was like, she was like, this just happened less than 24 hours ago. And I was like, you know, well, you know, did you go to the police or the hospital or something? And she's like, no. She's like, it just happened, you know, not till it happened like 4 in the morning or something like that. So at this point, it's like 11 o'clock. So she fresh off, you know, in a fight. So she just started crying and stuff. And so for whatever reason, I just grabbed her hand and I took her in the bathroom and I just held her. I just held her. And she just cried all on my shoulder. I mean, we in the bathroom just having a moment, you know what I mean? She just crying, and I'm, you know, after she kind of calmed down and stuff, I was asking her, like, you know, well, have you told me, you know, you have any family? You know, she told me she had a 6-year-old daughter. And, you know, I was like, well, do you have any family? And she was like, my mom died. And she was like, my father, she don't, you know, they don't get really along like that, you know what I mean? And she's not really cool with too many people on his side of the family or whatever. So basically she's just alone. And so I was like, you know, well, you ain't got no homeboys, you know what I mean? Somebody go beat his ass or something, you know what I mean? So, but she didn't tell me, I guess, like everything, right? So I go on lunch and I had got a text from her saying, you know, thank you, you know, for, you know, those encouraging words and stuff. I really appreciate it. You know, nobody knows that I've been going through this and stuff. And, you know, I told her, you know, anytime, you know what I mean? I just, you know, kind of just told you a little bit. And so I had to ask her some deeper questions. I said, let me ask you something. Is that the first time he's ever hit you like that? And she was like, no. She's like, he hit me like, not this bad, but he, hit me a couple times before. I said, when was the first time you could have saw a first sign? And she was like, when I think about it, she was like, I remember he told me he had got in a scuffle, with his, kind of his last girl. He said that he had slapped her or whatever. And I was like, okay. I was like, she was like, but, I said, but that could have been definitely a sign. And she was like, it was a couple times, he would be like, I'm gonna kick your, ass or something like that. But she was like, I ain't think none of it. I just still said what I would say or whatever. And then she was like, then he did hit me, and I was like, you didn't think to leave or whatever. She was like, well, no, because I really love him, and I didn't think he was gonna do it again. And I was like, well, look at your face right now. You know what I mean? I was like, apparently he didn't mind. And I was like, I was asking her, like, did you change your locks? Did you, do he got keys? And she's like, yeah, I just changed the first lock on the first door, but I got 2 other gates to get through. I was like, well, then change those locks too. And she was just like, oh, as long as I change that. I said, why would you want him to get that close to your front door anyways? Change all that shit, you know what I mean? Or talk to your apartment complex or wherever, she was living. I was like, talk to them and ask them to change some stuff, something, I said, maybe you need to move and get up out of there. Because if you afraid that, she was like, I don't want to come back because I feel like he gonna, basically kill her or whatever. I was like, well, then you need to just get the fuck up out of here. If you feel like that, I'm like, grab your daughter. I'm like, you got to remember, you got a child watching you. And you don't want that to repeat itself. You know what I mean? And I started asking her, like, why did you, I started trying to ask her deeper questions, like, what was her reasoning for wanting to stay in something like that? You know what I mean? And why she didn't want to, you know what I mean? I feel like she wasn't telling me everything, but she was just like, no, and I work for this particular company and I can't even go to work, and my daughter's coming back from summer vacation, and I gotta try to, figure out what I'm gonna tell her, why my face look like this and stuff, and I'm just so depressed. And I was just like, I said, well, the first thing you need to do is get you and your daughter out of danger. You know what I mean? That was what I said. Go down there and get you a restraining order. I said, or something. I said, get some kind of paperwork on him. I said, because I don't, you know what I mean? It'd be a motherfucker. He come back and you actually have to kill this motherfucker or something, or attempt to kill this nigga, and somehow you go to jail. And you didn't have no paperwork that he was beating your ass. And you had a restraining order, and that was why you had to attempt to kill him, or that's why you did kill him. You know what I mean? If it got to that extreme. I was like, and I was just getting mad because I was like, she wasn't trying to take none of my advice or what to do. I was like, I said, you're a woman with a child. You can get shelter. You can find a women's shelter, a church. Somebody's going to help you. You got a better chance of being homeless and finding programs to make it than I do as a man. So I was like, you need to cut, you know what I mean? And she was like, okay, I'm gonna think about it. And I talked to her like that one day, but one of the things I had to open up to her about, about how I had dealt with some things, I gave her 2 examples of why I said, you got a child, and some other things. One of the things was that I told her I had to open up to her about me. I kind of was in, I guess it was abusive in a way. Relationship was my first little relationship when I was 19. I had just moved here, moved to the Bay from Bakersfield, and I had messed with 2 other guys before my first little boyfriend, but it was just little shit. For the gay guys that's watching, you know how it is when you first come into this gay life and you like, 17, 18, 19, and you out here exploring and stuff. You know how it could be or whatever, right? So, I was dating this dude or whatever, and he used to like to fight on me a lot. When he would get mad or whatever, or something I didn't do that he wanted me to do, or something I said, because at 19, yes, I had a slick motherfucking mouth, you know what I mean, but I only was cutting niggas with my mouth when you was trying it with me, you know what I mean, you try, you getting cut. So, you know what I mean, he was very, even probably verbally abusive too, but he used to fight at me like one time, I was sick. I had like 100, before the fever, I had noticed, I had strep throat or whatever, right? And so for those that have strep or ever had it, that's a motherfucker, right? It is just not cool, right? Your throat be all inflamed and shit. So we started thumping this particular day, like when it really was just getting bad. And and the reason why was he got mad. He wanted to get all lovey-dovey and wanted to fuck around or whatever, and wanted me, I'm gonna just say, he wanted me to suck his dick. And I was just like, no. I was like, I don't feel good, my throat hurt, like no, I'm not doing that. And then so he went off on me. You over here, you supposed to be my nigga, you don't even want to do this, just going on, just very selfish, right? And I just went off, and I was like, motherfucker, you sitting up here getting mad at me because I don't want to suck your motherfucking dick? Because I'm sitting here telling you my fucking throat and I don't feel good, my body aching shit. You mad? Because, nigga, you better go smack your meat and shit. Now, I might have said something else smart, like, you little dick motherfucker or something like that. Now, let me back up why I called him a little dick motherfucker. I don't know how many weeks prior to that, we was having sex one time. And this is it kind of been a problem, but I was trying to ignore it. We was fucking, and his dick kept slipping out, right? So this motherfucker told me, oh, you need to lose some motherfucking weight because my dick keeps slipping out. Oh, good old Chris always got a good old comeback to gut punch that ass. So I said, well, the last nigga that was in it didn't have no motherfucking problem. So what's up with your little ass dick? Of course, that jumped some shit off. Got mad, punched me and shit, and trying to choke me out, and then of course I'm going back at it. And side note, let me say this: a lot of you girls that be like, well, I didn't hit him for hitting him to hit me. Let me say this: if you say certain words that's going to push a man's buttons to make him hit you, you need to be prepared to what's about to happen. Now, as a man, I'm a man. I was ready for this nigga. I'm not scared. I'm not no punk. I'm not going to back down from no man. But whether I'm dating him, a friend, or a nigga on the street. But what I'm saying is, you being a woman, you have to be careful sometimes what you say to men. That will push their buttons. Yes, you mad. Yes, you hurt. Whatever he did, he might be, depending on what's going on, he might be in the wrong. You know what I mean? But be careful how low you hit a man. Because one thing about men is they don't do good with they don't know how to express themselves with words like you do, and some of us gay men. They'll just get mad and mollywop you and hit you on top of your head, and then you sitting there with a goddamn neck brace, you know what I mean? Even for straight men, you with a woman that's consistently hitting you and she's even pushing you to want to knock her beak off, leave her, because she it's like as if she wants. Sometimes these girls be setting you up wanting you to do that so they could do that. Don't let her push you to that limit. If you with a girl that's always hitting you, she should be keeping her hand. Both of y'all should be keeping your hands to yourself. And if she can't, get your sister to beat her ass. No, I'm just playing. Leave her, walk away. That's not the woman for you. Fighting and stuff. And another time, we were in the car. I don't know how we got on kids or something. And I told him one day I wanted a son. I wanted a kid, a child. And he was like, well, why you want to fuck? I was like, I do. I was like, that's just something I want. I want a little mini me running around one day, And he was like, for whatever reason, this nigga, we was driving in a 2-lane highway or whatever, or 2-lane street. And this nigga took his hands and choked me and said, motherfucker, if you leave, I will hurt you. And before I got ready to retaliate, I remember the first impulse thought was, why are you choking me just because I said I want to have a kid? Like, what the fuck? After that thought, I went into beast mode. I slammed on my brakes, put the car in park. I took both my motherfucking hands. I pushed it up in that nigga's throat. And I said, motherfucker, if you because at this point, I was tired of fighting this nigga all the time. At this point, I was tired of, just arguing. He was very controlling and possessive. I couldn't have too many male friends, you know what I mean? And mind you, I'm 19, so I'm just getting into this gay life or whatever, if you will, of meeting friends. And it wasn't always on oh, I'm trying to fuck you. It was just, I wanted to meet people, and I'm having all these feelings and meeting all these different kind of niggas that I don't know what's what, and trying to learn this stuff, and plus, you know, I'm 19, I'm new, hot on the scene, you know, new ass on the street, you know, not out on the street, new ass on the scene and stuff. So it's like, you know, I wanted to explore and stuff, but I was never doing anything that was disrespectful to him. I really had, you know, some male friends that actually would call, and even coworkers that I had and stuff that wanted to, you know, just hang and just kick it on some innocent shit. And he would be, who the fuck is that nigga? Oh, that nigga trying to fuck you. You need to stay with me. He always wanted to be up under me too. That was what got on my nerves. I put my hands around his throat, and I told him, if you ever put your hands on me one more motherfucking time, I promise you, I'm gonna knock your head smooth the fuck off. And I got niggas for your ass to make sure you stop. You know what I mean? I said, because all I motherfucking said was that I wanted a kid. That was it, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Of course, I was screaming and saying it and stuff or whatever, but I remember, and then, so anyways, I had got strep throat or whatever, and I had a fever of like, it was like later that day after he got mad. I didn't want to, mind you, I'm fighting this nigga sick, right? At this point, I probably got like 101, 102 fever. By the time I got to the emergency room, I had a 104.9. I was about to break 105. All I remember is them putting cold towels on me and hooking me up to IVs, and I'm just shivering and shaking because that shit is cold and I'm hot at the same time and all that. And I remember getting home from the hospital or whatever, he went off on me again. Why the fuck you not answering your phone? I'm about to come over and whoop, you know, I'm about to come over and beat your ass and all this stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling him what happened and stuff, and he's like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, why would you go out? Like, instead of once you hear what I got, is, you know, just, I was over it, you know what I mean? And so, for whatever reason, I asked him to come over and come rub my back or some shit, and the motherfucker was like, well, come get me. Did you not just hear what I said? I just got to the hospital. I was like, just take the bus. Oh, well, they stopped running at a certain time, and I'm like, you know what? I think this is back when I had, this is back when flip phones was out, and I just, took all day to type that shit, what I had to say, but I was just like, I'm done with you. I was just like, I don't want to go through with this. I remember crying about, like, I felt like I was repeating something that I had seen or been through, but for whatever reason at 19, it hadn't clicked yet. Okay, now I'm gonna put a pin in that. Some years back, I got out of this last relationship, and at this point, I'm like 28 years old, and I was crying about a lot of stuff. Put a pin in that. The girl that I was dealing with, I had to tell her from a child aspect what that can transpire into from a child seeing that. It wasn't until I was 28 when I got out of this last relationship that I was, dealing with or whatever, and I was crying about some things. I was thinking about a lot of the relationships I had been in and stuff, and I remember being like, oh my God, I kind of understand my mom. For those that don't know, my mother passed when I was 14, so, at that age, I wouldn't have thought to ask no, I don't think, or had the courage maybe to ask that question, or maybe it didn't press me enough to ask. No, I did ask her one time. They had got into a fight, and I was about 9 years old, and I remember crying, because he pushed me or something like that too, or something, and he just stormed and left the house, and my sister's crying, I'm crying, and because it was, and I asked her, I said, how could you be, I'm 9 years old, and I said, how could you be with a man that treats you like this, and me? Because my sister was good, that was his child, but for me, I wasn't getting treated the best. And so, and nor was he treating my mom really the best. I mean, he wasn't bad, but he had his issues, Nah, it was fucked up. And I mean, since then I've forgiven him and all that kind of stuff. But still something I guess one day I do want to talk to him about. But and then my mom was with, predominantly my whole life. they would go at it all the time. They would always fight, argue. I don't, you know, I was from the time I was 2 years old up until maybe 11. You know, they would consistently fight a lot and argue, and you know, I always felt like he was very mean and disrespectful, hitting on my mom, slapped her, you know what I mean, choking her. And it would be times I would, of course, try to help, but, you know, he was kicking my ass too, you know. So, and I told her, like, you know, by kids seeing that, I was like, you know, it really makes you wonder, like. So I was like, okay, I was 28 years old, and I started reflecting on everything that I was going through. And I thought about when I was 19, why did I stay in something like that? Why did I keep dealing with that? What was I missing? Why would I keep dealing with him? You know, why would, like, and I thought about my mom, like, oh my God, was I repeating what I saw as a kid? And then I was like, okay. And then I started thinking, because I had this hatred for my mother. Like, I never understood why she wanted to stay in something like that. I never understood what was it about this man, like, why, you know. And it just dawned on me one day. I was just like, and the reason why I say I never got that question answered, I had to, you know, I opened up and told her that kind of stuff. And I always wondered, you know what I mean? We always say that we want to break cycles, because what I started thinking was, why did my mom think that was okay? And then I had to think more. I said, okay, as I talked to other black women and listened to what their struggles and problems, and just me watching other family members and listening to them, and I said, okay, my mom's a black woman in her early 20s, in the early 90s. By this time, you got 2 kids. You not stable yourself. These jobs ain't paying enough for you to take care of yourself and your 2 kids and have your own place. Welfare is a motherfucker. You on and off on that, like, okay, and here comes this man offering some kind of stability. And so I think sometimes women can, and this isn't the case for every woman that may deal with this, because it's all kind of different scenarios, but I think sometimes you sacrifice some because you can get some kind of stability for either yourself or you and your children. I think it's the same thing, because I'm gonna say this too. This is because a lot of times we don't, as gay men, we don't even talk about domestic violence. I can't even believe I even talking about this, but you know what I mean? Because it was. I remember crying about this, like why I gotta keep fighting this nigga all the time? Like, why do I gotta keep, you know? I mean, yes, I had somewhat of a smart mouth, but I didn't deserve to be for you punching me, and then now I'm fighting you and stuff, 'cause I wasn't backing down. You know what I mean? He all scratched up and shirt all ripped up, mine all ripped up. We breathing hard and shit. You know what I mean? And it's just like. And I remember seeing that as a kid, you know, and then they'd be back all cool and stuff. And I always, and then I said, why did my mom think that? Then I started thinking, well, what did my grandmother go through? What did she see? Then I started thinking about little stories she told me, or little things I heard from other family members, and being like, okay, well, if this is, then that's why my mom thought that was okay. And then, of course, when you throw religion in it, stay by your man and believe in that faith and all of that, and it's just like, especially, you know, 80s 90s Christian is damn sure different from today's Christian folks. You know what I mean? You folks in there twerking. You tried to twerk in church in the 80s and 90s, boy, they would have set you down, stuffed you with a bunch of stockings, and put a prayer cloth over you so quick. And I think she got wrapped up in all that when it came to religion and stuff, and staying with that. And I just, because she was married to him at that point, I guess maybe she didn't want to live in sin. I think that even sometimes why she married him, because I have a very religious family. My grandfather's a pastor and all that kind of stuff. So y'all already know, for folks that, you know how that is. And it's not healthy. And I hate that, even in church especially, but people always say, oh, we need to break the cycle, we need to break the cycle. How the hell am I supposed to break the cycle if you won't even tell me what the fuck happened in the motherfucking cycle? Somebody look at your neighbor and say, well, how can I break the cycle if you won't help me understand what happened in the cycle? You know what I mean? Chris is preaching now, come on. But for real, how can I break a cycle if you won't tell me what's going on in the cycle? If you won't open up, of course, of age and all that kind of stuff, but if you won't tell me what happened, if you won't open up to me and tell me what's going on or what happened or what you experienced, how am I supposed to learn and not make that mistake if you won't open up to me and tell me that? You know what I mean? You know, because it was times I remember looking in the mirror at myself and scratches on my neck and you know, bruised here or whatever, you know what I mean, and stuff, like, and just being like, and I think too, because he was just the first guy that I felt like really liked me, I guess, and wanted to be with me. That's another thing too, you need to really question yourself. I ask dudes this all the time when they be having issues with their girls. I always ask, why do you want to be with her still? Because everything you're telling me sounds like problems and you're upset about it. You know what I mean? And so I had to look at why my mom probably would have stayed. I think, you know what I mean? I think, you know what I mean? And I really am grateful for the experiences I've had with men because I feel like it's helped me in so many ways in life. But I'm grateful for it because it helped me understand my mother, because had I not dated men, I don't think I would have got her. I don't think I would have understood things. You know, I don't, and so, but I looked at it, I was like, why would she stay? And I was like, okay. And I looked at what she was dealing with and my sister and all of that, and I'm sure she loved him too and all that stuff, and he probably loved her. He loved her too, but I don't think they just weren't good for each other. And instead of them being honest with it, I just think I really think my mom stayed for wrong reasons. I don't think she felt like she could do it on her own. I think certain people in my family made my mother feel like her dreams and aspirations were over because she had kids. Anybody that's going through that, it'll get better. You'll meet somebody else. If you gotta work 2 jobs, do what you gotta do. If you gotta live in a women's shelter and work at the Dollar Tree, bitch, I'll be scanning the fuck out of them Dollar Tree shit and stocking the fuck out of them shelves to do what I gotta do than to be up under some man just because he has some kind of stability or some kind of status or power, or he's giving you something that you feel like you missing. Know your self-worth. Know your self-esteem. Raise your self-esteem. If you with anybody that isn't raising your self-esteem, leave them. You know what I mean? It's not healthy, and I just feel like that was just on my heart to talk about, was domestic violence. I just feel like like I said, from a child's point, it's just not cool. And I felt like, look at it like, it's not healthy for nobody to be in nothing abusive, whether it's verbally, emotionally, and if you're getting all three, you know, physically. Cut. Get up out of there. Leave. I had girls trying to, in high school, instead of bullying me, I had to kind of let some of these girls know, because they thought like, oh, he's a sissy or whatever, or because I was a little more feminine, they thought they could punk me, and then when I 2-piece and a biscuit her ass, oh, now she thought about it, you know? So don't get 2-piece and a biscuit by your man or any a nigga that you want to try to run up on. Bitch, you better have a gun in your hand and take this nigga out. It's the only way. Don't get your ass beat. But men too, gay men too, you with a nigga that can beat your ass, watch what you say to that nigga. You might need to write that shit in a letter and tell that nigga how you feel. But in all seriousness, don't be in nothing that's unhealthy for you. I just remember just crying a lot, just like, I feel like all those, each experience, up to this point, each of those experiences, those unique experiences were for me to help figure her out a little bit. I mean, be it friendship, family, relationship, but especially relationships. don't be running to nobody just because they getting you out of one situation, but now you got to deal with, you was running from this situation and now you dealing with this kind of situation. So know your trade-off. But anyways, Talkinishwitchris, like and subscribe. Thank you. And just me, myself, and stuff like that too. But and just learning, you know, now I know kind of what I want out of man, what I don't, what I ain't gonna put up with, what I'm, you know what I mean. So I always tell you, even a nigga look like he want to hit you, you know what I mean. Nah, but I had this long time hatred for my mom, even after she passed when I was 14. I mean, I was sad that I lost my mother and all of that, and had to go through that experience, and maybe I should even open up about that. But even after that, I still for years, you know, 18, 19, 20, still had this small in the back of my mind of like, just, because of the things I had to go through. I mean, I now know, I understood that those adversities that I went through wasn't for no reason, and maybe by me even doing this video is want to inspire or help somebody, I don't know. But even gay guys, we don't talk about that. Or, you know, I've had a friend or two that I've seen go through that, and I had to tell him too, and then go, like, I was going off, we was down there about to beat his ass, you know what I mean, and you know, I helped him, you know, get the fuck up out of there and stuff. But it's like, and I know to some people that's watching, it's like, oh, two men, that's just two men fighting. But it is still a difference when it's somebody that you're supposed to love or be with that you're fighting. This isn't just some dude or two friends that's just getting into it. This is somebody that I'm laying and screwing. You know what I mean? This is somebody that I'm loving and wanting to learn from, and you know, all the stuff that goes with that, a relationship. And that's not healthy to be in, you know. It's not good to be in, and I don't care how big his dick is, or good his ass is, or how much money, or his status, or something he's doing for me emotionally. If I'm still not being respected all the way around the circle, I'm cutting, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm not saying everybody's perfect, no. I mean, it's gonna be some times, yes, I know it's gonna jump off sometimes, that's expected. But y'all know what I mean, just getting walked on left and right, nah. And a lot of gay guys do put up with that, and they don't talk about it, you know what I mean? I've been with dudes that would just snap quick, be ready to just fight, and I used to be like, why are they so quick to just want to just snap like that, just always ready? And I was just like, some dudes, they would open up to me about things that they experienced, and I was just like, fuck, wow, you know what I mean? Like, I really do listen to people when they talk to me and stuff. Like, I'm giving you a listening ear, but I'm also learning from you, you know. You know, you hear about, a lot of times, all the time, about domestic violence with women. You see it in movies and TV and talk shows and all that, but this is why I want my talk show, y'all, because I want to tap into all of this. Anybody that's watching this that even want me to come and maybe interview and talk with you, like, you know, about your experience or anything, definitely inbox me or whatever and hit me up. You know, everything's Talkinishwitchris, so you can find me on whatever, and let me know what's up, you know. But we don't talk about that enough. Even amongst your friends, you know, anybody that you know, you sit next to somebody, like, talk about that. You guys know anybody, you know, that, you know, where would a gay guy look for if he really needed to run to somewhere, you know what I mean? I mean, I guess these days it's a little easier with the help of the internet, you know, Google, stuff like that. But, you know, shit. Luckily, I was just strong enough to just know I had to leave. I knew I couldn't stay in it too long, because it was only, I had enough. I didn't realize, because of what I saw as a childhood, I just knew, I knew in the back of my mind, and that's what made me cry harder, was because I remember saying, ooh, that I never knew as a child I'd date men. You know, I liked boys very, very young. I never, you know, whole religion thing, and, you know, men are supposed to be with women and all that kind of stuff. So I I always remember just saying to myself, that would never be me. But then I used to be like, well, it ain't gonna be you because you're not gonna date a man, or you're not supposed to date a man. Something like that I was thinking, but I knew I would never go through that. And I remember that's why I was crying so hard, because I was like, I wasn't supposed to, I forgot that I had said that to myself, you know. And I guess in some way I subconsciously knew to get out. I knew that enough. And that's the bad part that I feel bad, is a lot of girls and men, really just, let's just say men and women, don't know when to get out of a relationship when it's time to, when it's bad. They'll just keep staying in it and staying in it, and you just digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Oh, and it's just like, it's gonna be real hard and hard to get out this shit. You know what I mean? Every time you digging, you know. And that's why, once again, I always say, where is your self-esteem? Where is your self-esteem? Raise your self-esteem. Start caring about you. People always think they care about themselves just because they take care of their body or their hair or their skin or they wash their ass or whatever. Taking care of yourself also means here and here. That's taking care of yourself too. You know what I mean? Protect your mind. Protect your heart. You know what I mean? You gotta watch motherfuckers, because they doing anything and everything mad because whatever happened to them, they want everybody else to feel bad. Protect that shit. That's taking care of yourself. I've learned to protect my mind, protect my heart and stuff. I'm not just giving my heart to anybody. It's niggas now, old niggas still calling my phone trying to see what's up. I'm not going back to you. I already know what to expect from you. You've never even showed me different. Why would I go back to you? That's stupid. And a lot of you guys will keep going back to something and you keep getting stabbed. How many times are you going to get stabbed? And then you complain to me because you bleeding. Bitch, you the one ran and let the nigga stab you. Nigga, you the one let the bitch keep fucking with you. Leave. And that nigga